Hello friends, my name's Real Emile and welcome back to some more Forza Motorsport 6. Today we are here for another car build. It will be on the Plymouth Fury, but first I wanted to start with the Audi R8 V10 Plus. You see, over the course of this series I have not once been defeated. Now, what I mean by defeated is when I'm doing these time attack builds, I've never once lost to the car I'm supposed to be beating. But this time, it's got to be a little bit different. And I will explain that while I am driving the Audi. So, first of all, let us go and find a track to actually race on first, and then I will explain what is going on. Now, what track? Should we do Circuit de Catalunya? Yeah, I fancy running Catalunya. We will go for 4 laps on here, and we will set the best time we can in the Audi R8 V10. Now this is an S-Class car, 713 PI. It's a pretty decent value for money. It's only 150,000 credits. Now admittedly, I'm not a huge fan of the Audi R8 V10. I've never been a fan of any of the Audi R8s, to be perfectly honest with you. They're all they're a little bit too sensible, I think, for supercars, which is why I don't like them. However, the R8 V10 is good value for money, as long as you don't consider the ACR Viper or anything like that. Now, I'm not actually a huge fan of the way this car drives, either particular. I'm more a fan of the way this car sounds, because it sounds fantastic. But as far as the way it drives, I'm not usually a fan of it. I will have to sort of double check it while we're going around here. But anyways, with the Plymouth Fury, my plan is simple. Now, we are going to try and build the Plymouth Fury to go ahead and beat this Audi R8 V10 around Catalunya. Now, as hard as that sounds, believe me, it's not. We've had the Nissan Silvia, the 66 Silvia, beat a Nissan GTR by about a second, I believe. We have a Holden Torana A9X that beat a V8 supercar. I'm sorry, I'm just taking this a bit cautiously because I'm trying to figure out how this car drives. It's a bit understeery. Yeah, so we've had the Holden Torana beat an Australian V8 supercar. We had a King Cobra Mustang beat a Shelby GT350R, which is one of the fastest A-Class cars in this game. That car is superbly quick. I mean, if you look at it around our Top Gear track, it is one of the fastest, if not the fastest A-Class car we've had around. It beats an SLS AMG, an AMG GTS. It's beat a bunch of crazy cars, but it still got beat by a King Cobra Mustang. So the plan with the Plymouth is very simple. This car costs 150,000 credits, as I just explained. Now the Plymouth Fury costs 50,000 credits, and we are going to try and build the Fury to go faster than this for less or about the same as this car costs. So I've got a budget. Ooh, okay, slidey. I think I dropped down too many gears there. We are going to try and build the Fury to go faster than this for less than this. Now, that gives me 150,000 credits. The car costs 50,000 credits. The actual V10 engine swap costs 46,000 credits. So that actually only leaves us with 54,000 credits to get a C-Class car to go faster than an Audi R8 V10. That's going to be, hopefully, quite the challenge. I am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing how the Fury will do against the Audi R8 V10. Overall thoughts on the way this car is actually driving, I'm not a huge fan of it. It's quite understeery. It's nowhere near as bad as it was in Forza 5. This thing was a drift monster in Forza 5. All it wanted to do was go sideways. It was very much like the Ferrari 458 Italia. It's not too bad in this game, I believe. It's slightly quicker than the GTR. Yeah. It's around our track. Ooh, there we go. It's got a 117, I believe, around our track, a 117.223, so it's basically where the low-end supercars are, so, you know, your sorts of your Nissan GTRs, I believe the Lexus LFA, ooh, I'm gonna have to go back there. I think my braking was a little bit dodgy there, to be honest with you. That's no fault of the cars. Brake there. Control batteries are low. Excellent. Hopefully they don't die at any point during this video. I have got some new ones, but that's besides the point. Yeah, the R8, as far as like actual speed compared to other supercars, it's okay. I mean, it's nothing spectacular, admittedly, but it isn't too bad. I'm not too sure how the Fury is going to drive. I'm currently trying to debate in my head whether we're going to make it all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. I think we might go for all-wheel drive. But then we've got the issue of the weight, and the tyres and the brakes will all need upgrading. It's going to need lots of aerodynamics. As far as my predictions go on what the Fury is going to do, I haven't even built it yet, and I'm predicting what's going to happen to it, I know. But my prediction is the Fury will... I don't know if it'll beat the R8 or not. I think the Fury will probably be faster around the corners, and the R8 is going to be faster in a straight line. I mean, don't get me wrong. Even if this is a slightly boring supercar, it's very quick. I believe this has 590 brake horsepower, the V10 Plus does. Not 60, I'm sure it's done with in a little bit under 3 seconds. 123.239 on that last lap there. Still, the brakes, like, well, to be fair, I don't know if it's the brakes. The issue I've always had with this Catalunya layout, you may have noticed it when I believe this is the layout I did my first ever car review on, with the Golf R and the Scirocco R. The thing you would have probably noticed is I hate that first corner. Like, on the normal Catalunya, you've got brake boards. On basically any corner around here, you have brake boards, or you know roughly where to brake and stuff. That corner, it doesn't really give you any indication. I mean, yeah, you can use the white line, but that only really works in the sort of hot hatches and stuff like that. As far as, you know, like your big supercars or hypercars are concerned, this track really isn't a good fit for them, which is a bit interesting. Does say in the display, I do kind of like that about the R8 V10. It does have a quite nice dashboard. Like, everything's laid out as you probably want it to be. You can see the rev counter just out the corner of your eyes. In case you're wondering, like, the reason I actually drive on cockpit, like, when you're driving in cockpit view, some people will be like, oh, you know, do you actually use the in-game rev counter at all? And you really don't. You sort of just glance down at the actual rev counter in the car. Which is mainly why I use cockpit view, because especially with these YouTube videos, I can't, you know, hear stuff like ridiculously loud, because it'll come across on the microphone. So the actual rev counter in game is quite useful, and it's also useful to just glance at when you're sort of hot lapping and stuff. Okay, we got wheel spin. Let's just get this out the way. A thing. Cockpit cam, no HUD. I don't know if I've got that one. Anyways, the R8 set time of 123.239. Now we have to go and build the Plymouth Fury to see if that will beat it for under 54,000 credits. I am just going to grab my phone quickly, so I have a bit of a calculator. Let's just go on here. 54,000 credits. Excellent. Have I got a place to lay this down? Not really. There, that'll do. Right. Let's us go and find the Plymouth. It's over here. I will say the one quick thing in the Plymouth favour is that the Prowler was a very, very good car round when that went for a race build, I believe. That was a fantastic car to drive. Right, 54k. Let's throw in the engine swap. There we go. 562 horsepower. So we're on less horsepower than we was in the Audi. Right, drivetrain swap is 5 grand. We are going to have all-wheel drive because it will really help us out. There we go. We're at B class. It's still not great. Twin turbos, we will need those if we've got any chance of beating that R8 because they're very cheap. Right, tyres. Tyres are a big thing. We will need tyres minus 10,000, like so. There we go. I'm going to also want full tyre whips on this thing because the tyres aren't very big from stock, but the upgrade tyre whips make them huge because it's an old car and that's the way it works. Right, there we go, minus 3200, 31,600, and we're actually not too far off the PI of the Audi R8. I thought this was going to be a challenge. Oh well. Right, minus 950 for the brakes. Now, these little things, this is what's going to cost the money. You know, we've sort of... There is a few performance things I'd kind of like to do, but sort of like the minimalist stuff, this is the stuff we're going to have to do now. Although that weight reduction does take quite a lot of PI out of it. There we go. We don't weigh too much. Roll cage, yes, we're going to need that. 2100. 23,000 credits, jeez. Okay, this might actually end up a hell of a lot cheaper than the R8, because we won't actually need too much on this car now. I think it just needs a differential and some aero bits, because I think I'm going to go with aero on this, just to be on the safe side. 18k. I might just throw... Ooh, okay, so we can dechrome it. Also noticed how I've decided not to go with the red and white. I kind of like this sort of, I don't know, it's like a coffee colour, but it's got gold stripes on it and stuff. It looks kind of cool. That is the most ridiculous looking wing in the world, but we are going to need it. So, 2,000, 14,500 credits. Right. One last thing I do want to do to this is I want to just do some minor performance upgrades, just so we can get that power up a bit more. I want to be touching about 700 horsepower in this, just because. Camshafts, yeah, we'll have those. That's minus 4,300. So we are actually at the same power that the R8 V10 is now. Do we slap on the twin turbos just for the hell of it? It's 5 grand. We may as well use up all the money. So yeah, let's slap twin turbos on here. 2,750 horsepower's left. Intercooler makes this R class. Jeez. 1,800, 950 credits left. Is there anything for 950 credits? Nope, not that. Clutch? Nope. Roll bar? Can we have one roll bar? We can have one roll. We can have a street roll bar. Sick. Right. Actually, no. You know what? We'll save 950 credits. Sod it. So the total cost of this car is 149,050 credits. There we go. I will get it out. Right. It looks so much cooler than the Audi R8 does. Right, let's see how our Plymouth Fury handles. I thought this was going to be a very tough challenge, but by the looks of it, the Fury might actually walk this. Yeah. Wasn't expecting to say that, but there you go. I think next... Ooh. I've got a good idea for a next one, actually. Maybe try and beat the ACR Viper, because that thing's only 110,000 credits. So that's going to take a lot of attempting to beat, but judging by the way this series goes, it's probably going to get walked on. Right. It sounds fantastic. It sounds so much better than it used to. Oh, I didn't do any tuning. That's something. So the gear ratios might be a bit wonky. We certainly have a lot of acceleration. Question is, do we have a lot of brakes? Answer, no. No, we don't. We really don't have a lot of brakes. You can't rewind any further? Bollocks. Right, we're just going to have to put it onto the safety road and then just go around and sort of just use the slap to find out how this car handles. Oh my god. Okay, I was wrong. I was so wrong. There is understeer in the Plymouth Fury. Oh my god, the weight transfer. Okay. This really could have done with some tuning, but hey, I mean, can't really do anything about it now. So, I can't believe I forgot to tune. That would have been really helpful, but you know, I guess it adds some challenge to not tune it. I didn't tune the Audi R8 in any way, but then again, I'm assuming the Audi engineers probably did. Not very well, but I mean, they must have done. Taking roughly the same amount of speed that the R8 took down there. I think this certainly has more acceleration than the R8 does. You know, it's sort of... It has more horsepower, 787 horsepower. I believe it weighs a lot less, because the R8 actually weighs about 3,600 pounds, which is pretty insane. as far as straight line speed, we're pretty good. I don't know why this car has a speedo that goes up to 150. That seems a bit puzzling to me. We're going to have to brake. No, we're not going to brake that late. You see, that's my only real indication, that little white arm. And I mean, that's too early. But any further would have been too late. So, I mean, it's an awkward bugger to drive around here, apparently. Right, into here. I'm having to be a lot more careful than I was in the R8, admittedly, because the Fury doesn't handle quite as nice. There is a lot more understeer. Maybe I should have left this rear-wheel drive just for a bit more of a challenge, but still, it's not too bad. I mean, when I say it handles bad, it doesn't really handle that bad. I've just noticed it says power steering on the steering column. How cute. I think, actually, no, most cars didn't have power steering until like 2000, did they? So I guess that's kind of exclusive. At least here in the UK. I mean, I don't have a problem with driving without power steering unless it's some big vehicle, but there you go. I will say the car which I've got, which I will be revealing at some point, that has got power steering. In fact, it's got dual zone power steering, so you can choose what sort of power steering you like, whether you want it light or slightly less light. I mean, it's still light steering. Okay, so the Fury it's beaten the R8 by 3 seconds. God damn it! I wanted this to be a hard challenge. Bollocks. Oh well. God damn it. I really thought this was going to be, you know, sort of a big, hard challenge, you know, trying to beat the R8 on a budget, but no, it's not. I'm kind of curious to see how the Sylvia sort of shapes up in budget compared to the GTR. I mean, I don't really know how much I've spent on these car builds. I mean, the Tirana was obviously cheaper than a V8 Supercar because a V8 Supercar costs 650,000 credits, and you can basically, in this game, you can have a fully upgraded vehicle. For the most part, it costs under 200k, you know. So if you're building up, I don't know, a Mazda MX-5 or something, you can usually fully upgrade cars for about 200k, you know, between 100,000 and 200,000, usually. I mean, unless you want to, I don't know, I mean, I don't really know how you could make it cost more than that, unless you, like, swap, I'm sorry, I'm driving terribly now. Yeah, unless you, like, swap this engine into it and threw all the upgrades on, because that might cost a bit of money. But, I mean, I'm not too sure. Even with that, which was one of the worst drives I think I've ever done on this game, that was still a second quicker than the Audi R8. Okay. This is, yeah. It's a walkover, to be perfectly honest with you. The Plymouth Fury is apparently much better than the Audi R8. You see, now I'm kind of curious to see how this vehicle will do with even less of a budget. How little money do you actually have to throw into this car to make it beat the Audi R8? Because, I mean, if it's beating it by 3 seconds there, I mean, would 100 less horsepower really hurt it? Or, I don't know, would having sports tyres really hurt it? Or it's just something like that. To be fair, I could have said, you know, keep this car road legal, but to be honest with you, I didn't expect the Fury to go as high up PI as it did. I mean, it was touching R class at one point. I'm going to rewind that because that was my bad, not the cars. I just wanted to throw the power on for some reason. I mean, in the R8 you could have probably got away with that, but this just has a little bit too much understeer and a little bit too much of an issue with weight transfer by the feels of it to really put the power down when you want it to. But still, I mean, coasting, now full power, and it deals with it okay. I mean, there's no real issues with it. Can we beat a 120? Yes, we can. A 119.576 for the Plymouth Fury. Ultimately, it was harder to drive than the Audi R8. However, it still kicked its ass, let's be honest. But anyways, friends, my name's been The Real Emile. Thank you all very much for watching. And until next time, farewell.